Today, we are going to be talking about project reporting. We have had several other webinars that have led us here about building our project schedule and assigning resources to it, building those assignments and what that looks like. And then now we have executed our project. Now we're looking to do some reporting from it, so some outputs, a way to look at our information in a slightly different way. My name is Amanda Coleman. I am the operations manager here at Intigent. I have been here for about 7 years, and I am certified in Microsoft Projects and Portfolio Management, or PPM, Microsoft Product 2013 and 16, and in SharePoint. And I have been working with Microsoft Project, Project Server, and Project Online for many, many years, and I use it on an everyday basis myself. So this webinar for our project reporting is part of the webinar series we've been doing for Microsoft Project Essentials, just to get everybody up and running, enough information to get you to where you're dangerous with your scheduling knowledge. And today is the second to last one there, the project reporting. We have all of our previous webinars on our website. So if you've missed it, it is there, it is posted, it is free. So go and take a look. You can watch them as many times as you'd like. And I have a slide at the end that will list when our very last webinar is, and we do have a couple that are currently in the process of being scheduled starting in December, and I'll let you know what the names of those are as well. So today's agenda, we are going to be talking about project reporting. I did not update my agenda here, but we are going to be customizing the timeline view, which is a big picture of your project. And we're going to be looking at several of the built-in reports in Microsoft Project and which ones are useful and how to customize them to show exactly which information you are looking for. And then we're going to be looking at how to share your plan, how to copy it, how to copy the entire thing, pieces of it, and then how to print it. So who is Intigent? Who are we? We are a consulting firm who focuses primarily on Microsoft Project, Project Server, and Project Online. We also are involved in SharePoint, and Dynamics, and Teams, and Planner. The Microsoft suite is our expertise. We are very, very familiar with it. We implement the software for users. We train them how to use it. We help people build out project management offices, their PMO, their processes as well, and really help in any way we can in matching the tool that we're so familiar with your business process and come up with a plan that makes sense for your organization. We are Microsoft Gold Partner certified in project and portfolio management. This means that Microsoft has recognized our organization. We have several people on staff who have proven their knowledge and a couple other requirements to show that Microsoft has recognizes that, and Gold is the highest partner level that we have. We are also a part of the Project Management Institute, and a lot of our full day classes offer PDUs if you are a member of that as well. So we're going to do a very brief recap of what we had talked about last time to make sure everybody is kind of up to speed on where we're at right now. So last time we talked about project execution, and we looked at these 4 different levels for tracking the details in your plan once it's a fully developed schedule and actual work has started to be put on your schedule. We looked at recording your project work through the current date where everything is going as planned. We talked about the different predefined increments of percentage complete that you can put in your project for your tasks. Then we also looked at adding in that percent complete and percent work complete columns and recording the actual information for each of your tasks. It is definitely the most time consuming, but it will get you the most detailed information out of your plan. And as we talked about many times, the more information you give project, the more it can give you in return. By being able to record what you actually are putting in your plan, you can answer a lot of questions both for the now and for future planning. You can talk about, are the tasks starting and finishing as I expected them to? If not, what is it doing to my end date, to my finish date? Are the resources I put on this plan spending more or less time on the tasks that I originally had put into the schedule? And then are there any tasks that are increasing the cost, the overall cost of my project? And if so, what are they? Is it a task specific? Is it a resource specific? And then you can always use what you have put into your current project schedule in a future planning mentality. It helps you to estimate your future projects better. If you know that these tasks are actually taking less time than you're planning every single time, then you can adjust your estimates in the future. We reviewed the critical path, how to look at your schedule, and there are a couple of different formatting options that you can use where it will highlight only the critical path tasks. The critical path is the sequence of activities that add up to the longest overall duration, regardless of if that duration has slack or not. It will tell you what's the longest path, and it will identify which tasks are on that critical path. Where meaning if those get extended, then your project finish date, your bottom line, is going to be extended as well. We reviewed baselining. Microsoft gives you 11 different baselines. You have baseline numbers 1 through 10 and baseline 0 or no number. And we reviewed some of our best practices about when you start your project plan, before you put any actuals on it, you need to save a baseline. This is by far the best way for you to look back and see what did I originally plan for my project, and then compare it as you track actuals to what is actually happening. And on the back end, Microsoft does a ton of calculations for you. There are a lot of variance tables that you can apply to almost any of your views to see exactly what's happening. What was the baseline finish? What was the actual finish? What was the baseline work versus the actual work, and so on. And here is an example of that variance table, which again is a great way to see what your original was versus your baseline. So today we are reviewing our reporting. We're going to look a lot at what Microsoft offers in terms of the out-of-the-box reports, because we always recommend to start with those. They offer a great variety of information that's pulled in by default, and then it's pretty straightforward in how you modify those to fit exactly what it is that you are looking for. So why use project reports? It is a tab up there. There's a lot of information there, a lot of options. Using the project reports allows you to share the data that you've been capturing in your project plan with other people. You can customize your report or have different versions based on your audience. For example, if you have your team on a weekly status report and they want to see what's going on in the last week, you can create your report to show information based on a certain date range, as opposed to creating a report for an executive. Maybe they want to see higher level information. They only want to see those key milestones or the entirety of a phase or a stage. Using the project reports allows you to share that in a way that doesn't really get bogged down a lot of the detail. The built-in reports, as I mentioned, are easily customizable and easily printable. For sharing, you can PDF it, you can print it, whatever you'd like to do with it. We will be looking at the timeline view and how to customize that, how to add things to it, and how to share it as well. The timeline is very, very useful in being able to communicate the overall or the big picture look at what's going on in your project. And also built in there are you can copy different views, such as the Gantt chart, to an image. And you can put them in a presentation, you can put them in an email to share, and you can either do that for the entirety of your project schedule or only for very targeted pieces, whatever your preference is, whatever information you're looking to share, it is there for you. So the timeline view it's a toggle on and off in your view ribbon. It's not usually there by default unless you display it, and it is blank by default when you first put it up. You can add phases, tasks, milestones, anything that you would like to communicate or see at that high level glance. A lot of people actually have that turned on all of the time, and they use that as their visual when they're going through their schedule, especially if it's many, many, many hundreds lines long. The timeline provides a very, very good big picture overview of what is going on in your project. You can see your dates, you can see when things push out. And the top picture here is what it looks like in Microsoft Project. It comes with a whole new format ribbon, which we'll look through the details of. And this is what it looks like in Project. And then the bottom is what it will look like when you copy it. That's the image that you can paste into presentations or emails or sharing. So project reporting has many, many built-in reports. I did list a couple of them here that I usually point users to, especially for getting started with reporting. I kind of picked one from each of the different categories that is available there, and we will walk through several of them and customize them as well. There is the project overview report, which is the one in the top right there. It just gives you a high level what's going on in your plan, and it gives you a lot of the pieces of information that most users want to report on a regular basis. What is the overall percent complete of my project, which is a duration-based calculation. I have my 3-month project. Where am I in terms of completing that? There's also a milestone section in there, ones that are upcoming, so that you can see what key deliverables are going to be coming up for you. There is an overall for your phases built in, your summary tasks of your percent complete there with a percentage of each one so you can see how it's progressing. And then there's also a late task section. Don't have any data in that one, but if I had any late tasks that were supposed to have started by now or supposed to have finished by now and they hadn't, they would populate there in my late task section. There is an overallocated resources report. There is also a cash flow report. If you put in different costs into your project, either by associating your work resources with the rate or by having specific cost resources such as travel in your plan, you can have that cash flow report, which is the one on the bottom right over there, that shows you at a high level the different elements of your costing. So you can see I have an actual cost. What is it actually costing? What did I originally expect it to cost, which is my baseline cost? What remaining cost do I have? And then what is the variance from what I originally expected? And you can see there's some visuals there and then some key data points down below about the different phases in my project schedule. There is the milestone report, which is one that I do get asked about pretty frequently because if you have many phases or many stages in your project, the milestones are noted as being those key deliverables. What are the steps required to complete that deliverable or milestone? And so knowing when that's upcoming, when it's complete, when it's late is very, very handy in telling you overall what's going on with your stages and your phases. And then there is also a section, it's relatively new in there for agile type projects. And that is that board section right there for task status. There are a couple different options for showing you your tasks based on sprints, based on other task status, and we'll look at a couple of options for those. So when you are looking to print your project plan, it is very important to remember that Microsoft Project will print whatever it is that you have displayed. I have one time accidentally printed a 12-page of my schedule because I did not remember to adjust my view of what I see in my Gantt chart to align with what I actually want to print. Because it will scroll multiple pages up, down, sideways, whatever ways you can think of, everything in the view you're currently on will be printed. So make sure that you hide columns you don't want to see, maybe switch to more of a sheet view than a sheet view with a Gantt chart. And that will really, really help you in being able to share your project plan without using a lot of paper. So now we're going to jump into Microsoft Project, which is where we're going to be for most of our webinar today. This is a very, very hands-on. Let me show you how it works for Microsoft reporting here. So here is my project schedule that we're going to be using for reporting. And this is one that I have pre-populated with some tasks and actuals and resources and some other information so that we have some data to work with. And so the first way that we're going to look at our project reporting is to look at the timeline view. That is up here. It's hidden. Mine is hidden here. If you come up into your view ribbon up at the top, and almost all the way to the right, there is a split view section here. And you can click on your timeline, and it will go ahead and open up that for you. And it is blank by default. There are no tasks on it, unless you previously added them, but it should be blank by default. And you can see when I click in here, I get a brand new ribbon. This is specifically a timeline tools formatting ribbon. And all of these commands are specific for my timeline. If I click off of it, I no longer have that ribbon. I need to make it my active view to be able to use those formatting options. We're going to zoom, oopsies. So we are going to start by adding some phases to our project. A lot of times when you use your timeline view, you may want to do tasks not as granular as the subtasks like these ones down here, but you want to do a little bit more high level and think about your phases or your stages at a quick level. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my planning phase here. I'm going to go ahead and right click. There's an option almost all the way down at the bottom for add to timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you can see it automatically populated that based on the dates that I'd like it that it is scheduled to be. I have my internal launch phase down here. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here. I'm going to do it a different method this way. We're going to click on our timeline. So this becomes my active toolbar. And I am going to add a task from my existing tasks. And here's where you can multi-select. You can say, I want to do all of my phases and stages here. So we're going to go ahead and put our internal launch phase and our public launch phase here. We're going to click OK. Let's figure out why my timeline is overlapping like that. And so here it will put your different phases up on the timeline for you. Since my phases here do overlap, it will stack, and it'll stack for any of the different phases or tasks that you show. So if you do put a lot of subtasks on there, it will keep stacking based off of that. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to give my project schedule title, which is new book launch here. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the timeline as well. But what I'm going to be doing here a little bit different is instead of having this be a line on my timeline, I want it to be above. I want to call it a call out task. So I'm going to take it here. I'm going to drag it up. And this gives me a very, very good overview of my project. It makes it real clean, easy to look at. Here is my title. Here are the dates in its entirety for my schedule. And then below are the details for the phases. From here, you can even update the visuals even more by, let's see, I'm going to select, and you can change the different colors for the phases, which is actually something that I do like to do on a pretty regular basis. We're going to make this phase blue. We're going to go ahead and make this phase yellow, and then we're going to make our public launch phase a different color. There are all of these font options here, such as filling and color, just that are pretty standard in Microsoft applications. And it just gives you, another way to really customize what the user is going to see here. If you have a predefined one for your organization, you can always say phase 1 is going to be blue, phase 2 is going to be yellow, and it makes it very easy to see what's going on at that quick glance. So I am going to add a second timeline, which is one of the more recent features in 2016, I believe, to add a second timeline bar. So if you don't see this option here, you may be using just a slightly older version. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my timeline bar here. And on this one, I am going to add in my milestones. So I can know exactly where those are going to be. So I'm going to add in my planning complete milestone. Oopsies. And so as you see, it will add to whatever timeline that I have clicked on as my active one. So I don't want to put my milestone up there. I want to put it down here. So I'm going to click on my second timeline. I'm going to right click and click on add to timeline. I'm going to do that for all of my phases here. Oh, that's why. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and add in this guy. There we go. Now this is looking how I expect it to. So we have up in our top timeline here, we have our phases, and at the bottom we have our milestones. So if you're looking to share now, we can go ahead and I'm going to click on my top one to make it my active. And I can come up here and there is a copy timeline section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here. I'm going to click on full size. And then I'm going to open just a blank Word document here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it in as a picture. And so from here, you can adjust it. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller, but it does allow you to share your timeline in a very easy way. Most frequently, a status report, for example. A timeline is a very, very good use of that. All right, so I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go ahead and hide my timeline view. No longer need them. And now we're going to go to our reporting section. So we're going to come up to the ribbon here. We're going to click on reports. And here is where you can find all of the built-in reports that Microsoft has put in for you. There is a dashboard section. We're going to be looking specifically at the project overview shortly, but there are several other reviews. We can just click through a couple of them here, and they are built in by default. So whether you decide to use them or not, they are there for you. There's a cost overview report, project overview, upcoming tasks and work overview. There are some resource reports, cost reports, in progress that are more task-based. Gives you a whole section for getting started, so you can always come here. It's a very good resource as well. And my recents. So at the bottom of each one, there is a more report section, and here is a way for you to easily flip through and see what is there by default that you can use. So we are going to look at our product overview report. It is a very, very good one to start with. And you can see this shows you the high level information about my plan. A lot of times you might want to customize this. You don't want to just use what was out of the box. You want to be able to change the fields that show up or a couple of things like that. And so by clicking in to any of the visuals, a fields list will display on your right hand side, and you can scroll through and you can see what fields are available for me to pull out and put on this report. So we're going to click on our graph here, and right now it's looking at percent complete, but I would also like it to show me my percent work complete. So I'm going to go ahead and click on percent work complete, and it's just going to add another bar there for me, so I can look at them side by side if I want to, but I do have the option to do that. And let's see, actually, let's go with, we only want there to be a percent work complete. So we're going to go ahead and hide our percent complete here. Percent work is what we're looking to report on, my organization specifically. So you can vary it. But as you see, when I updated this to be percent work complete, the title up here and the description is just a pretty straightforward text box. And so you do need to make sure you remember to come up here and update this if you do change any of the other information in your visual here. Sometimes they're linked, but more often than not, it's a whole separate piece of its own. So I am going to come in and let's see, I'm going to update my title. I want this to say project status. So you can just come and title it here. You can update the different parts of the report. I want to say for my percent complete here, this one will update automatically. We're going to say we want to do our percent. Let's go ahead and undo that. Click in here. We want to do our percent work complete. There we go. This one is tied to the title, and so you just have to be mindful of what will update dynamically and not, because most of them do not. So say we want to update our percent work complete. We have our start and finish dates here that we have shown for us. You can see over here what information is being displayed. If you deselect it, it'll tell you have to reselect it again. We're going to go ahead and undo that so we have a nice visual here. And then we have our milestones down at the bottom. This will show me all the milestones that are coming up due. I do have the option in my fields list over here to update what is being filtered for each visual. And so there are a lot of different ones to choose from. A lot of these are actually the built-in filters for the view section in Microsoft Project as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on here. Let's say I don't want it to be orange. So we're going to come to our filter here. Let's go ahead and make it a blue, the top section as well. And so you're really able to use this built-in report to show what you'd like it to. If I don't want to see late tasks that are coming up, I want to see, let's see, certain tasks. Maybe ones that are from now to the next 6 weeks. I can come up and I can look at my date range filter. And the date range filter or view, if you use it in a sheet view, will prompt you. It'll say, I want to show tasks that start before or after. I'm going to click on today. And then I'm going to do 6 weeks from now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it will update my chart to show me tasks that are coming up in the next 6 weeks. You can do this for milestones. You can do this for tasks, but you can't update it here. I'm going to say this is instead upcoming tasks. Upcoming tasks and update, say these are for tasks that are coming up. Whoopsies. And so you can move around your different visuals. You can change things here, but this is definitely a good report to get started with. We are going to look at another report here. We're going to look at the resource cost overview report in our cost section here, resource cost overview. And we're going to customize this report similar to how we did for our project overview, but we're going to make it, I'm going to make it my own. I'm going to make it how I want to be able to see this information. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and click on my pie graph here. And when I click on this, I get, similar to a timeline tools bar, I get 2 new ribbons for specifically only for charts. I click away, they're gone. If I click back, then they come back because this is my active view. I have one for design, what I want it to look like. And then I have one for formatting where you can add additional formatting options to your different visuals. I have another chart here, so it'll be the same toolbar. I do have a table down here, so a table will get its own set of toolbars as well. Similar, but still different. So we're going to look at our pie graph here. I'm going to click in it. There's our fields list. I was waiting for it to pop up. And I'm going to come up here to my design tab, and we are going to change the visual. You could do a drop down. You can see what are some of the ones here by default. We are going to make it this style right here. We're going to come to our table down here and go ahead and select it. And again, I have a brand new toolbar up here specifically for my table. So I'm going to click design and drop down. Let's see what we want to do. I'm going to go ahead and update this to be my gray table. A nice banded gray so you can see exactly what's going on. I'm going to click on file print. This will give me a very good preview of what my report's going to look like. So I can see right now that these cost details are going to spill over into the second page of my report. I have 2 pages. I can click on my multi-page down here, and I can see exactly what it's going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here. And you can move around the elements of your report to make it fit accordingly on whatever size you want to print it for. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my chart over here. And again, it shows me the fields list. I can see these are resource field information that I want to do. And it's pretty cramped here, so we can always adjust the size of it. That's good. We're going to move it over here so we can work with it. So you can always adjust the size of your visual to make it fit a little bit better. And we're going to come to our filter section here. Right now, we are filtered to show work resources, and that's all that it's going to do here. We're going to go ahead and choose our cost over budget so we can see exactly which of our costs are causing us to go over what we originally planned. And it'll show you only the information here. It shows you what our baseline was, and then the actual, and then what is remaining for each of the resources. So we can see that we originally didn't plan for Carol to cost us a lot of money on this project because her baseline is almost all the way down at the bottom. But she's actually put in about that much, but she has a lot left in tasks that she is planning on doing. Switch to another filter here. Let's look at our work over, the same information here. Let's see what else can we put here. You can also do any of these other filters, such as cost greater than. So you can say, show me resources assignments where the cost is greater than 1,000. And it will show you that as well. So you can really use this report dynamically. If you don't want to share it, you just want to use it to be able to see your data in a different way, you can definitely do that. I can also see any report that I'm working on in the same view as the actual details of my project schedule. So I do have my report open here. If I come to my view section, I can go over almost all the way to the right and click on details. And it will give me a split view of what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll this down. Click on my report, scroll that down as well. But you're able to see side by side, what does my schedule look like and what is the report showing me? So it really, really helps you to validate your data as you're building your report. Make sure what I want to show is actually what is, first of all, true, and second of all, what you want to show on the report. So we are going to, let's see, go ahead and look at our milestones report here as well. I'm going to go ahead and hide my split view down here and focus only on my milestones. You can see here that I only have 3 milestones in my schedule, but if your schedule will most likely have more milestones than that in it. My upcoming milestones, I only have 1, my planning complete phase, but you can always come in here and you can play around with the different filters here. We're not going to modify that one, but we can say that we want to see all of your milestones, for example. You can see any of your late tasks, which we do not have any. You can see what tasks have not yet started. So really, most of the information here is pretty easy for you to use here. There is a new filter where you can create your very own filter to apply to a report. If there is a specific piece of information maybe you've built into your custom fields that you'd like to be able to report on, then you can build that in here. As long as you have put the name into your schedule, then you can pull it out for reporting. You can see there's a lot of different fields in here. So playing around with the filters is definitely worth doing. So we're going to go back to our milestones due this month, which is a predefined filter. So you can come and you can add that if you like. And our different task boards here. If you do use agile projects, they did recently add in the reporting for that as well. So you have here is a task board for your task status. And this will show you the tasks that are coming up, your board status. Let's see. Mine is not an agile project. It does not break it out accordingly, but you do have options to look at your current sprint, your sprint status, and a lot of those are predefined here. So we're going to come into our new report section and we are going to create a brand new report. I am going to just call it my great project report. And it will generate a report for me. It does put that title in there for me. So now I have that title for my great project report. And we are going to add in a table. So you can see I have a report tools ribbon up here. And it gives me like an option to go back to a different view. And then it gives me a couple of different things here for formatting my report. I am going to add in a table. For right now, we're going to click on table. And by default, it will populate it with these 4 fields. So again, I'm going to come over here and I am going to update that. I do want my task, my name to be there. I do want, let's see. We want all of our tasks. We want to see all of our tasks. Right now, it's just showing us a project summary. I want to see all of my tasks that are coming. So I can change my grouping, my outline level here to show me all of my tasks. And you can see it will pull in all of them. I am going to show my duration. Let's show my duration. We'll go ahead and click that here. It will automatically add it to the bottom. Over in the fields list here, you can not only see what is available, but down here at the bottom, you can see these are the ones that are being used in my visual. I can drag and drop them to change the order around. Maybe the duration is what I'm most interested in, and then I want to see the details after that. What if I only want to see my incomplete tasks? So I'm going to come up here and do a filter. So it will show me tasks that are not 100% complete. We have our sort by option here. If you want to sort by any of the fields in your visual, you can. So right now it is being sorted by start date. You can either do it by name where it's going to sort alphabetically, or if you do want to do it by percent complete, you can do it as well. Let's see, go here, percent complete. And then I'll do it by name after that. We're going to come back to our design ribbon up here. And over here in the themes effect, there are a couple, actually quite a few different color palettes and different themes that you can apply to your report to make them pretty visually pleasing so that you're able to, oops. And you can just flip through and you can see, do you want to have a lot of different colors? It just gives you that gradient right there from the beginning to use. And you can flip through, you can find one that suits you. So we are going to leave our table. I'm going to go ahead and put it off here on the left-hand side. And we are now going to use a chart. Come up here. In our design, I'm going to go ahead and click on chart here. And I am going to click on a column graph. You can see there are a lot of different visuals here. A lot of these are the same ones that are in PowerPoint or in Word. There's a whole section of columns, stacked or not. There's lines, pie graphs, bar graphs, area, surface, radar, combo. These ones I would say are not as frequently used, or combo definitely, but radar and surface, but you can use them if you like. We're going to choose a column graph here. We're going to look at let's do our 3D stacked here. We're going to put it over here. So you can see by default, I do have a theme applied, so that's why it gave me these colors. But by default, it will pull in all of the different summary task information, and it will give me the actual and remaining work from there. I'm going to go back to my Gantt chart here, and I'm going to add in a brand new section. I'm going to add in a change request section. I'm going to format it appropriately. You need to make this guy the summary. And we're going to do task 1, task 2, task 3, milestone. We're going to create our work breakdown structure here so it all makes sense. Link it to my project. Let's update this to have some different durations here. Make this a milestone by making it a 0-day task. This can be 5 days. So now when I go back to my report, I'm going to click on my recent, my great project report. You can see it is very dynamic and automatic. It automatically puts in my new summary phase that I have put in. So if you have a report built, you don't have to worry about coming back and modifying it for any changes that you've made. It will automatically do that for you. And here as well, let's see, here's my task 1, 2, 3, and milestone, what I have just put in here. I do have that already there for me. So we're going to go back to our Gantt chart. Let's go back here for a moment. So now that you have your report here, this report is just living in this one project. We will be talking next week about the organizer. In Microsoft Project, everybody has their own organizer, and that's how you can create different views, filters, reports that you can put in your organizer that will be available for any of your projects across the board and not just one. So I'm going to come back to our Gantt chart here. So there may be sections of your report that you need to share. You don't want to share the entire one. Maybe I only am interested in sharing my change request section that I just put into my project schedule here. That's really what my boss is wondering, what is the impact to my schedule going to be? So change request is the only thing that I'd like to share. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight here the different tasks that I'm interested in sharing. Up here in my taskbar, there is a copy section. I'm going to do my drop down here, and I'm going to click on copy picture. So you do get a pop-up box that has several different options here for you about how you want to render your image, if you want to put it into a GIF, if you want to show all of the rows on your screen or selected, but we want to do our selected since we only are interested in a few. And then you can do your time scale here. You can do only certain dates, or you can do everything on the screen as it appears. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So it's hard to know anything actually happened, but I'm going to come back to my Word document here where we're doing our reporting, and I'm just going to paste. And you can see here it will put all of what is on your screen. So again, if you want to not have your Gantt chart here, you can switch to a different view, such as a task sheet view. Gives you just your task information. Come back up here to copy picture. We're good with those settings. Back to our Word document here. And then you can paste only those information. Again, if you want to hide any of this information, maybe task mode, you don't need to report on or anything else like that, then just hide it from your view temporarily. You can even create a very custom view that you can apply, and that will only show you tasks you're interested in. A lot of times we get requests for a custom field for something called something along the lines of a management flag. And it allows you to tag different tasks in your schedule that you do want to report to management on. So it takes a little bit of setup. You need to create that field, which is something we'll be doing next week. And then you need to create your filter. But once that's done, any reporting you need to do after that, you can apply that filter. It will filter and show only tasks that you want to report to management. And then you can do your copying of your tasks or your reporting from there. So in order to print your report, as I mentioned, everything in here will show on my report. So we're going to come to our print here, and you can see, I'm going to click on my multi-page, which is this one over here. This is a very good way to see exactly how many pages your report is going to print to. So you can see my table here goes over multiple pages and it goes down multiple pages, which may not be a problem, but definitely the side to side, we want to try and consolidate that absolutely as much as we can. Oopsies. Let's see here. So it does have us in landscape view, which is what we want. So maybe we can come back and we can hide tasks that we do not need to share. So we're going to go ahead and hide our indicators column, our task mode. And let's see if that'll fit for us. So we're going to come back here. Nope. We still have too much information. So we're going to come back. You can always shorten your tasks here. We're going to hide in our predecessors column, hide that. We hide our resource column. Just takes a little bit of playing around. Again, you can always create your very own view to show specifically for printing however you'd like to print. So it looks like that it would work. So we're going to go back to our Gantt here. It does keep the same fields that are displayed. You can always right click to insert your columns to insert them back in if you did want to do that. We're going to zoom in on our, oopsies, not out. We're going to zoom in. I'm going to click on task number 3, scroll to task so it is relevant in my visual here. And now we're going to go to print. And printing the Gantt and the timescale is definitely where you're going to add links to the number of pages that you are going to be printing, because it will show you, it starts over here and then it will go for the entirety of your project. So you can see the same project plan, adding in that timescale will almost double the number of pages that I need to print for my report. You can see it goes this way, so it's very long in here. I can come to my page setup down here. And here is where I can determine a couple of the parameters. For example, this picture is printing a legend. Let's go back here and go to a single picture. It's printing a legend at the bottom of each page so that the user who's looking at their report will know what do each of these visuals mean. And so you may not necessarily need that. So we're going to come to our page setup option here, go to legend, and here is where you can dictate what it's going to show. You can see your legend here. I have it set to be on every page. I can set that to be on its very own page. Sure, here. So you can see this is on its very own page. I can come back and I can say I don't want there to be a legend at all. Everybody who's using this report knows what it is. I don't need one at all. And that would drastically cut down on the number of pages you have here. And then again, any way that you have your visual here will display. I have a couple of other settings here for printing and sharing your report. This is to print your entire report. It's going to do everything from beginning to end. I can do based only on certain dates. And once you select that, you are prompted to put in what dates you'd like to see. So let's see, I only want to see dates for the month of December. Then it will show me that my project does not go too much into January, but it will cut down those tasks. You can choose only to print certain pages if you'd like. And then here you can do your custom date range and pages where you're prompted for both. So that is our product reporting webinar. I do highly recommend that if you are interested in using the reporting, that you can use a lot of the built-in reports and you can customize them and save them from there. So we do have one of other webinar in this Product Essentials series, which is the custom fields and other options. We will be talking about how to set up custom fields, running through a couple of examples. We will be talking about the organizer, which is how you can save different views, filters, groupings, things that are very specific to you into your version of project to be used in other projects. Also same for reporting. We do have some scheduling for success, which walks through the 8 steps that we believe will help you schedule your product all the way from beginning to end. Webinars coming up, the dates for those are still to be determined, but they will start in January or February. So make sure you check back for our website. If you want to go and see any of the previous webinars we've recorded or register for any upcoming, our website is there, and there is my email address. If you have any questions as you're walking through, please feel free to send me an email. I am very happy to help. So thank you all. Have a great day.